Hello. Hello, everybody. We've been listening to the dulcet tones of Chill Boy Beats. How we doing, folks? How we doing? Give them a subscribe and a like. Go do it, you fools. How we doing? Hello, trans girl Jade. Hello, non-binary. Hello, Irked / Erica. Hello, Uchronian. Hello, trans girl Jade. Hello, Koopa Shell. Hey, Ms. Drizzlin. You were the first like. Excellent. Hey, Pashlin. Hello. How we all doing today? I know it's a little bit early. And by a little bit early, I mean a lot bit early for me, but we're gonna be talking with what the founder and chairwoman of Rainbow Passage in a little bit here. So I'm dragging myself out of bed so we can get that convo. Thank you, Ms. Drizzlin. I just woke up, did my makeup, pounded some caffeine, and here I am. Doing well. I'm glad you're doing well. Howdy. Also, hello, Nine-Tailed Witch. Hello, Catalina. Gearbox. Chuds are literally eating their own shit. I mean, that's not surprising. It is rather early for you. Yeah. God, sorry I didn't stream last night. The holiday feels hit me really strong, and it's hard. It was hard to do, you know. Well, no, I dragged myself out of bed and then did my makeup. Yeah, you're right. I didn't drag myself out of bed in full makeup. That is correct. Hello, Sheppy Hand. How you doing? Yeah, you know, it's been like 3 years since I came out to my dad, and like around the holidays, I'm always like, oh, I wonder if he misses me, you know? And sometimes that makes me feel really sad. You doing sleepy? Well, thank you for being here, Sheppy Hand, even though you're sleepy. Blah. Oh, yes. Yeah, you can lift that up. I don't know how that happened, to be honest. Thank you. Thank you, resident representative of OSHA. I love you. Also, if you wanted to get me another V8, I would love you forever. There's just one on the counter. There aren't any in there. I was very sad. Huh? Oh, it's too early for that. What? Yeah, it's too morning for a Monster Energy. I love you. Clarice is feeling better, chat. They were also all very worried about you. Yeah, she said she's doing fine. Maxine the photographer, another V8. No, I brought my milk over to your house.
Vatican approves
curse
blessings
our
for
thoughtfulness.
same-sex couples in landmark ruling.
Catalina Gearbox, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. Vatican, I know! Vatican approved gay people. I do have to say, I am looking forward to seeing all of the molding on social media. I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, Dark Canuck. So yeah, basically they're like, we can't we can bless the gays. We can't give them the holy sacrament of marriage, but we can bless them, which is a pretty monumental step forward for the Catholic Church. You know? I'm surprised it's not big news. Oh, it's gonna be big news in like I don't know, the Nick Fuentes I wouldn't be surprised if Candace Owens got in on this. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Walsh got in on this. I'm looking forward to it. If like Charlie Kirk's revival night didn't touch on it, they're gonna be salty little sailors. Oof, excuse me. Matt Walsh embraces atheism for the first time in his life. Yeah, he becomes oh god. Yeah, I mean they might entirely right. It could be something that they completely ignore. Or it could be their opportunity to be like, see, we always knew the Catholic Church was secretly degenerate. That's why you need to embrace true Christianity. Evangelicalism. Yeah. So, some of them are. Some of the people I listed are. Did I see Twinkgate? No. Also, guys, if it's early for me, it's also early for Clarice. It's also early for you. You're not coming on camera. Yeah. Yeah, it's too early for her to be on camera. Yeah, you guys are lucky she's not just like in her uncaffeinated state, mauling all of you personally. All right. Okay. So we have to call in to talk with Amy from Rainbow Passage. So we're gonna do that right now. How about that? Boop 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 boop.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Is it okay if I don't do video but have you up on screen? Would that be all right?
Sure. That's cool.
All right. Give me one moment. Full screen. And that. And move you up.
So you just want this to be conversational then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Boop, boop, boop. Oh. And there we go. Howdy, howdy. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing all right. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Amy Check. I am the chairwoman of Rainbow Passage. We are a nonprofit dedicated towards getting trans and other LGBT people out of legislatively dangerous areas, along with domestically dangerous as well, although we prioritize. So,
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
this has been really cool. How did you kind of come up with this idea initially?
panic. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, fair.
yeah, it's as much a survival response as it is a business. Yeah, it's the overall idea that we're putting into action is a culmination of something I've been working on for years, combined with this need for an organization like ours,
Yeah,
or
what
that we feel exists.
so like what do you mean like something you'd been working on for years? Can you kind of
So,
elaborate on that?
I have been trying to come up with a way to like do like housing for LGBT people
Hmm.
as a long-term solution, um, in a manner of like I call it a safe living campus is what we're calling the project that we're working on. Um, but ultimately, the idea is that we want to have wherever build a community around it, but have a building or business dedicated to the recovery from hate,
Okay. Like
and all the associated trauma.
the recovery from hate, can you kind of like for people who might not understand,
Right.
like can you kind of like elaborate on that?
Um, with examples, sure.
Yeah.
Um, one of the recent clients that we're working on is a case where they grew up for years living with abusive family members that were taking advantage of them financially and in other ways. And they that's not something you shake overnight.
Yeah.
Um, that there's obviously I'm leaving a lot out. Uh, there's a lot of trauma there that I don't think it's fair to expect someone to be able to recover from in a year.
Yeah.
So right now we exist as a housing model that uses housing hosts. So, when we have a volunteer come in to Rainbow Passage's system and they are interested in being a housing host, we assess them for however long they can do it and provide it. And then we place them with someone and then we try to get them a break afterwards.
Hmm.
So far, we've not had anyone do their second person yet. Um, but we've moved 10 people to date for what it's worth. Uh, and or we're moving 10 at the moment. Yeah. Um, and with the housing host model, that works insofar as we have hosts,
Hmm.
people to open up their family's home to a stranger who they've never met before in their life is a big ask.
Yeah.
And I think we need a more permanent solution that is ultimately I feel will look kind of like a mental health resort, if
Okay.
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
a place where like people can
like a
kind of like
college without the college.
okay. Yeah.
It has all the other fixings except for the large educational devoted facility.
Yeah, so like kind of a communal living with like shared space,
Yeah.
but okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What right now, like what do you look for in like for like good like when you evaluate like someone who wants to open up their home, like what are you looking for in like kind of their living situation?
One, we want them to be financially stable.
Yep.
We don't want to put someone with you who's going to make it financially unfeasible for you to eat on your own, let alone them to eat. Uh, currently we do ask that you also be financially secure enough that you can take them on,
Mhm.
provide them not just room but also board.
Okay.
And that's what we're hoping to answer with more fundraising and stuff, is to be able to provide a stipend would make it a little easier for people to open their homes.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any like are there any like safety precautions
Oh,
like what could you
yeah.
go more
So
into
we
that?
do like an interview with them. Um, Vibe check. I guess we should probably start doing more thorough background checks, but so far we've done it like the normal route that we do with our volunteers, where we bring them in, we interview them about their interests, get them integrated into the community, and then largely use that to vibe check them.
Okay.
Um, People we've used so far, like the first house host was my best friend. Uh, the second one was a volunteer who came in through Discord and found us through the grapevine, and their client just recently graduated and
Nice.
moved on for themselves. And when we picked them up, they were homeless. Um, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, they didn't think it was possible to get this far. So yeah, uh,
That's amazing.
yeah. I'm sorry, my voice is really worn out.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Um so you kind of took that pre-existing idea, right? And then what kind of was the catalyst to turn Rainbow Passage into what it is now?
Uh, when we started, we were literally flying by our hair. Uh, at one point, we were thinking, oh, well, we can drive them, insofar as the driver's willing to drive and then hand them off. And then it was like,
As
well,
fifth,
no, that could be traumatic because, you're just getting out of a bad situation and now you're being handed off stranger to stranger. That's also weird.
Mhm.
Um, and largely it was formed through trial and error. Um,
Okay.
the way we operate now um, is probably going to stay with us for some time. What we're building to in the future, though, is the long term solution, I guess, would be my answer.
Yeah. And the long-term solution being like kind of that college
Yeah.
like that campus life. Uh
Intentional community with a campus. Yeah.
yeah. And when did you guys kind of like start operations?
Oh, March of 2023.
Okay, so like very very new.
Yes, we we
Still.
we are still in the process of applying for 501c3.
Okay.
I believe we filed the application. I just saw the draft for the IRS form and everything. So yeah.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I just know that that's like a really big really big deal like with getting these nonprofits off the
It's
ground.
so hard. One, you gotta save up, a couple grand if you're having a compliance company do it.
Mhm.
Um, because the application itself is like $600, I think.
Damn.
And then on top of it, you know, getting any company, any group, not even company for that matter, group of people to organize and do something together is a lot of work. It
Yeah.
is truly, they say it's like herding cats for a reason,
Mhm.
because it is. You are trying to get people to find a moment in their life in which they're willing to give you and other people that same moment.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Uh, it's been a fun experience. This is my first business. Like I've done landscaping things. I did plumbing for a lot of years, and I'd do freelance work, but that's different.
Yeah.
That's so different. Um, a trade job is okay. I know what I'm doing with my hands, and easy. This is a whole different level. There's a whole different level of liability on it, and yeah. Um, we've we had a recent learning experience with regards to donors and such, but the one thing we learned from it was we figured out what it was we wanted our project to look like if we were able to fund big.
Okay.
Um, and through that, we determined like, yeah, the host model works insofar as we have hosts, but like there's so many services that right now we're relying on our clients to be able to find with the help of a caseworker
Yeah.
through through the local network when they get into the area. And for that purpose, we are based out of Pittsburgh, but we are everywhere. We have people in California, people in Pittsburgh, people in Portland. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's really great. How do you decide where, like when somebody needs transport, how do you decide where they're gonna go? And also, how do you decide? Because I imagine there are a lot of people in positions that are vulnerable who need help. How do you decide, kind of like, who to go with? And
There
in both
is,
cases.
yeah. Um, so we have an application process on the website. There's one application for volunteering, one application for uh, getting help, and obviously the getting help one is a little more lengthy for us to respond to. We have about probably 200 applications and counting so far. Um, which sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
Uh, I just want to say something that we've said all along. It's bullshit that this exists.
Yeah.
It's bullshit that we're doing this. It's bullshit that exists. It's bullshit that it's needed. That said, there are, yeah, we have about 200 applicants and counting. We've only moved 10.
Yeah.
Um, it is largely uh, based on resources that we have. If they have plans in place, we're willing to help connect someone like with a flight
Mhm.
or with like um if we have access to a vehicle to help them move, we can do that.
Mhm.
But we're not able to like run a U-Haul because that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It turns out. Um, and so right now it's based on a categorizing system that looks at their history of trauma, um, vicinity to danger, proximity to risk. Like if you're both in an abusive situation and also you live in Florida, that's like highest ranking you can get next to being homeless and in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Florida is a qualifier all on its own uh, because boy, that's a special state.
Yeah.
Um, as we've talked in the past.
Have a lot of
um,
the people you've moved come from Florida?
yes,
They've had to
I
flee
think
because of
most.
the they've had to flee because of the laws that are being
Yeah, the
passed.
laws there. one of our hosts even fled there because of the laws, and they left their car behind and everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were afraid to leave their house, and yeah, you know, it's nice to see that some of those are being stopped in the courts, but it's only a matter of time before they write it in a way that it's like, yeah, sure, I guess this works now.
Yeah, they're testing kind of the boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it sounds like what you're describing is kind of like a triage. You know, you're having to
Thank
basically
you. That's
do
the word.
anything and everything you can
Yeah.
in order to
Yeah,
provide
so we
these.
triage the applications and go through, rate them, and then after that, go through and do an intake with the ones that we've triaged based on priority. And then once we have availability for housing, it goes based on need.
Yeah.
Um, we do make it where, like, we try to get in touch with everyone within a few months of applications.
Hmm.
But like, I have maybe of a convicted to doing the work on a regular basis volunteers for that, one or two.
Yeah. And
Um,
and I imagine like being so new, your current operating budget is basically shoestring.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Our budget is for the software we need, and for moving people largely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of it goes to the moving people, goes to the securing plane tickets and or like we have another client we're looking out for. They live homeless in a safer state, uh, and they're living in a trailer in the woods right now. So, like recently, we shipped them a care package of blankets and a bunch of hand warmers and stuff. Um, Also gave them some snacks, and it's funny. They text me a message and they're like, "Yeah, I can really see why someone would steal these. These are so good."
But
And
yeah,
it's like, all right, cool.
like I mean it seems like beyond just like transporting people, you're trying to do anything and everything you can to make sure that
Yeah,
they're like gonna be okay.
yeah, largely, yeah. Um, we, my goal is to one day, either in house or through contracted cooperation with other organizations, be able to provide all of the needs to recover from anything.
Yeah.
And I realize that is a very tall order, is very huge, lofty goals. Um, but I wouldn't have any other way.
Yeah. Um
Aim big enough, you'll land somewhere short of it and still be happy.
yeah, so like if somebody is watching this and they're like I would like to volunteer to transport people or I'd like to volunteer to like host or something like that. Do they like what are kind of the barriers between them and doing that? Like what do they have to
Uh,
do?
the first step is to fill out a volunteer application at rainbowpassage.org/volunteer. Um, the the steps to do so is you let us know that you're interested in it. We check, are you, let's say it's a matter of hosting someone, and we say, are you financially secure?
Hmm.
What's the living situation? Is this person going to have their own bedroom? How is the setup going to be for the client? Um, you know, Obviously, the closer to an in-law suite, the better.
Yeah.
Um, and with people to transport, that's largely based on your proximity to the client and your proximity to our main driver.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
There's other positions though. We do our own tech in house largely. Um, we
When you
down
say
the
that,
line, we do want to have a directory of people to go to when we have a building to maintain or when we have
facility.
facilities or more of a social media presence and want to bring on more people to help manage that or what have you.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. When you say you do your own in-house tech, like what do you mean by that?
I am the lead developer. I designed the website myself. Did the code for it, like
Okay.
uh, the design of it, like the layout was helped, came up with, I believe that was our volunteer Ty helped me come up with that. And we actually just recently did a redesign of the logo. Um, Here, I'll actually drop it in the chat so you can pull it up on your screen if you want to later. Um, and because someone pointed out our last one had a uncanny appearance that once everyone on the board saw it, we couldn't unsee it. So yeah, I like it as a lot of moments.
Yeah.
I forget where else I was going with what I was saying.
It's okay. I'm just pulling it up on screen so people can see the new logo. There we go. I think it looks really nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, and for for volunteers, like we'd like to have a directory for as we expand that we can always reach into. We do have a community Discord which is open to the public. Um, and we have an organizing Discord which is the current method for organizing communication, though we're switching to Mattermost, which
Yeah.
is another Teams alternative platform.
Yeah, I mean, like it sounds like you're putting together kind of like the digital bones that you need to like make
Yeah,
this work, and then like
because that's
once,
where our experience is.
yeah,
We're a bunch of software developers and software architects and stuff. So like let's use our strengths, which is right now, we're connected to people in the digital creator space and also in the digital creation,
yeah.
coding and whatnot.
Well, and once that like 501c3 status comes in, I know that that is like a huge help. But it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's great that
because
you're
then you get
getting.
to apply for grants. That's the biggest thing.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Um
Um,
like I
grants is
oh, sorry. Go for
grants
it.
is where you find the bulk of your funding for stuff like this. Like, sure, there's individual angel donors and stuff like that, but like grants are the only place where you see like, yeah, sure, 1.8.
Yeah. Like it seems like once kind of all of that falls into place, then you can start like trying to flesh it out with like facilities and like that's really
Yeah,
exciting. Cuz
yeah,
you do have like this coherent vision for where to take this in the future, and I think that like having kind of a place trans people can escape to and then recover is like really unfortunately so vital, you know.
yeah,
I can only
yeah.
imagine some of the situations that you found people in thus far. Like I'm sure it's
I
pretty
have
desperate.
seen some shit,
Yeah,
and it has given me pause
yeah,
several times. Um, you read things and it's like, wow, I didn't know people could do that to another person. Um, And yeah, it's there's been some harrowing tales. There's also been a lot of heart touching moments, like when we got the one client who was from a bad situation. We had them on the meeting with the host, and they asked, so how much is this going to cost me? We're like, oh no, this is free for you. They're like, wait, what? And you just saw the realization come over their face at the moment. It was so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, uh, unfortunately just seems like things are getting worse in places like Florida, especially. And I mean, it's already so hard to just be a trans person in
Oh
society, with
yeah.
even without like the legal hurdles to our existence. But um
Like,
yeah,
I'm lucky. I have passing privilege. 9 times out of 10, I go out in public. I don't have to deal with misgendering unless I'm like, winter coat.
yeah,
Then it's like, okay, you're 6 foot tall. Of course you're gonna get sir.
yeah,
um, but that's an experience I want more people to have, of being able to feel secure in it. And you go out and you visit a store and you don't worry about having to explain yourself as a patron.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I just had that moment the other day when I'm using the toilet in the grocery store and I'm hearing the maintenance person going through the restroom next door, and I'm thinking, oh, and I'm like, oh, I didn't shave.
Yeah, I think a lot of like cis people are surprised to find out how like nervous and nerve-wracking just existing in society can be. Um
Oh yeah. The taken as a trans person who used to be on the far right before they came out,
mhm,
yes. Being someone who thought that like America was hunky dory and the city on the hill and all that,
mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. People who don't have that experience, I wish there was a way to share an experience with someone so that they could just get a glimpse.
Yeah. Like
Because like a glimpse of the amount of anxiety that we face just in going out the door
just in using the bathroom.
will shatter a person. Oh, if that'll break a person, put them in a hospital.
Like it I forget exactly what I saw the other day. There was a post. I think it was Ari Drennan gets all this hate on Twitter.
Hmm.
She works with Media Matters. But like somebody was like, "Oh, you look like a man," and like her response was like, "I like it's a literal survival mechanism to be able to tell whether or not that's true in our society."
Hmm.
And like the amount of anxiety trans women in particular feel about this is just like
Oh yeah. Uh,
like you saying this doesn't affect me because like I have to be able to know if that's true or not in order to be able to function.
hmm. Yeah.
um yeah, you
Yeah,
mentioned
I
something.
mean, it's like we see it with our friends when, you have the friend that is beautiful, stunning, passes, and they just can't see it themselves at all because they see the pieces of their old face still.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned something earlier. You used to be far right. Like,
Yes.
can you talk a little bit more about that, if you don't mind, like, and like
I
how you
grew
kind
up
of
in a sure. I grew up in
transformed?
a conservative Catholic home. Um, I remember, God, for I was very much what's the word, polarized by
Mm.
9/11.
Oh, yeah,
And being of a conservative persuasion, I was polarized to violence. And you know. Um, however, my community I came up in was weird, but when I came out, I had no idea being trans would be a pariah to anyone on the right. I was very naive.
Oh,
Um, I was, while intending to do great things with my life at the time, uh, you know, I was wanting to run for office. I quickly found out how much of being trans was a no-no, and I also started learning more about everyone else's experiences.
can you
I
mention like you quickly found out that being trans was a no-no while trying to run for office?
no, while as in while being a Republican.
Ah, gotcha.
Um, I wanted to run for office as a Republican. I was working up to that point. I was in the Young Republicans. I was regularly helping out with campaigns and stuff, going to meetings. I was on good terms with a lot of people that just up and vanished from my life overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and the ones that didn't, I really wish they did because they sure had a bone to pick with me. Um,
I bet.
yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. Far right people, they do be like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can imagine they had a number of bones to pick. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think what is there, 100 in the body or something? But I it was a mind blowing experience. Took It's still taking place. I'm still to this day unlearning things and learning new things about different cultures and stuff. Like I've really taken to documentaries. I like to learn about anyone I don't understand.
hmm
Um, I was Islamophobic. I was racist. I was homophobic. I was sexist and everything when I came out. Um, I ticked everyone's box for who to harass when you're on the left and you want to harass a trans person. Because yeah, I was an asshole.
Yeah.
Um, and it's I really wish I would have learned a lot of this stuff when I was a kid because it would have been sitting with me for years and decades by now instead of just years.
Yeah.
Just like yeah, being someone who thought everything was great, it sucks, man.
Yeah.
It really does. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I also come from a conservative background, so I relate to a degree to to your story here. Like
yeah,
there
yeah,
is like this veil fall moment, and it's just like
yeah.
oh.
Exactly. That's exactly what I would call it. It's like the veil falls, and all of a sudden you see the country for what it is, and you realize it's a shit show, and you've been supporting that shit show.
Yep.
Uh,
What so like you realize like Republicans not that big on trans people, and then
yeah.
kind of like what was there like a moment where it like clicked or
Um, Voted for Clinton. That was the first time I voted for a Democrat. Um, because Trump terrified me. Because he was everything I was pining for a year prior.
Mhm.
Uh, and actually, let me back up.
Yeah.
What do you mean, clicked for me?
Like that like maybe the Republicans aren't the people you should be voting for, or like
Oh,
America's a shit show,
yeah,
like
yeah,
what
that clicked
yeah.
within the first year of coming out.
Yeah.
I had a cousin who I had connected with that found my views vehement, and let me know as much. and called me out. I had this belief from my grandfather who didn't understand why the Muslim neighbors he had so many generations living in one house.
Mm.
So, what his mind came up with and decided to tell me it and state it as fact was, oh, well, when they come over here from Palestine, because they're a refugee, they get a 10-year tax holiday. So every 10
What?
years, they transfer the deed to a new refugee family member coming over. That way they don't have to pay property taxes, because this is something my ignorant white grandfather thought America would actually allow to exist.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that one.
Yes,
Yes, all the special refugee tax breaks we have.
yes, yes, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
right on up there alongside the undocumented worker tax break. Uh huh.
Oh yeah,
Uh huh.
yeah. Basically, yeah. I mean, that was another thing. Was like I was very anti-immigrant, and she called me on it, and she's like, "Look it up. Go to the Library of Congress. Go to whatever website you want. I will judge your sources. You know, like if I came up with any challenge to it." And after like 3 days of reading, I was like, Jesus Christ, why do we have borders? Like that was honestly when it clicked, was the researching a lot of my preconceived notions from bullshit my family sold me.
Yeah.
And that was when it started to click that a lot of what I had been told was an outright lie. Not like an embellishment, not like a twist, just complete fabrication.
Yeah. What was that?
And
What was that?
that's a lot to get someone to understand.
Yeah. What was
I
that
had to
like?
walk myself there. And most people I know who have come from the right, and you can tell me, have had to walk themselves there too, because someone finally forced them to.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly the same for me, but there was like a
Okay.
moment where like I'd grown up like learning, you know, the biblical values and
Hmm.
um
Oh, yeah, that's great. Like,
just
ooh, yay, I can hate myself every time I look in the mirror now.
oh yeah, 100%. But like mostly it was just like this irreconcilable like difference between how I saw people who said they believed in this stuff acting and like
Oh, yeah.
the what they actually
They're
supported in
hypocrites.
the real world, you
Yeah.
know? And like that amount of hypocrisy not just on like individual levels but on like systemic levels. And I was just like I can't I can't make these two things. I can't square this circle, you know? Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah, totally.
it wound up being like this like that kind of like planting a seed that then like kind of just rolled from there slowly over time.
Cool.
Yeah. Um so like with
Feel
Rainbow
free to
pa-
redirect back to Rainbow Passage if
yeah,
you want to.
I
Yeah.
I was just about to. With Rainbow Passage, what are kind of your short-term goals? Like I know your long-term goal, like what would you like to accomplish like by the end of the year, by next financial quarter, and like what kind of goals do you have and like how can people help you reach them?
I'll go with by the end of next year, because that's the
Okay.
easiest one for me to put sights on at the moment. I would like to be set up to where our program is at least moving people regularly into houses, because we're able to afford the boarding
Yeah.
part of the room and board um, for the clients, and thus, as long as we're getting them set up with, their benefits and stuff, because we're moving them into states that have benefits, you know, I don't see that being a hard goal to obtain.
Yeah.
Um, how to get there? Uh, number of ways. My favorite is to say passage.lgbt/donate is the route to get to our donate link, or you can click on the donate link at rainbowpassage.org. Um, we also have another short link, rnp.lgbt/donate. And the other big thing is volunteers. Volunteers is a
Yeah.
big thing. We need volunteers, and we need housing hosts. We really need housing hosts. Um, if you think you can take on a college student, basically, if you can handle someone about college age, living with you that you don't know, you will get to meet them prior to. You know, we don't fly you completely blind. We try to get a Google Meet going and introduce everyone to each other. Um, but if you think you can handle that, please sign up.
Yeah. Do you
Uh,
have any like hard like we're trying to raise $5,000, $10,000? Do you have any like financial goal for the organization at the moment? I know that's a hard question to ask any nonprofit because most of them are going to be like all of it, please.
yeah, it's, I think if we could raise 100,000 in the next year, that'd be a big achievement.
Yeah.
That would be big enough to allow us to not only, um, yeah, 100,000 would enable me to move several people and do the other thing we want to do, which is get an in-house therapist. Getting it
Oh.
in-house mental health care would be very ideal because that is the biggest holdup with finding resources for our clients. They struggle to find mental health care.
Mm, yeah. And I totally get that too because there have been a number of people both like in my community and just who I know tangentially who like they come out or they finally open up to the idea of therapy, but they have no idea where to turn or like where they can actually get therapy that's
That's
helpful to them, you know?
that's honestly a lot of what we're finding that we're going to have to build our program into too is just helping people figure out how to navigate the world.
Yeah.
Because like we've already seen a couple cases are looking like failures to launch. Yeah. And you know, it's one thing to just help them get out of it. It's another thing to be like, okay, you need mental health,
Yep.
physical health, and then you need job training or, some sort of skills training to develop a skill. Whether that's you go to college or, whatever, we try to get them set up with something. Um, because ideally we want them to be able to earn enough to get their own place. But if it comes down to being able to afford enough to split a place with someone, that works too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I like a lot of people are not in a position to like just immediately jump into like time to be productive, you know?
You know what? Actually, I got something.
Yeah.
Because it is Christmas time, I would like to be able to give stuff to our our clients.
Like
We have a few
Christmas
clients
presents.
in the system right now. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
don't have another family. We're
Yeah.
it. Uh, Feel free to email me, Amy at rainbowpassage.org. That's AMY at RAINBOWPASSAGE.org.
Maybe
Um,
you can copy paste that into my DMs that I can post it in chat for people.
yes, yes, that works. Um, feel free to do exactly that. Um, if you have anything you would like to donate, uh, as long as I know what it is, I can give you an address that you can ship it to, and I will be able to distribute it from there. Because I know it's one thing to ask for money. Some people prefer to give things instead.
Yeah.
So,
And
um,
I'm seeing a couple people ask in the chat. Rainbow Passage does accept donations, but they, pending their 501c3 status, I think like they're not tax exempt.
you're not tax deductible
Yeah.
for the donor. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can donate currently through passage.lgbt/donate or rainbowpassage.org/donate.
And
I think /donate works.
just
Or .org. Oh,
that does not work. But I'll just link them the website, and
let me try
there
this.
is a donation tab that does work. I do know that. There you go. Yeah. So if you want to
That
help,
works.
if you want to help make somebody's Christmas chat, and you have something you'd like to donate, or you have money you'd like to donate to that, again, either email Amy at rainbowpassage.org, or head over to rainbowpassage.org and click the donate tab. Do you have any like closing thoughts you'd like to share, or message you'd like to get out to my audience?
Thank you so much for having me on. I know this is a little out of the normal schedule of your days.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm happy to get up early to talk with you.
cool. Um, biggest thing is that if you know anyone that you think might be able to help us out with housing, whether it's they have a vacation home that they don't use, they have a spare suite in their house, grandma just died and left her house behind or whatever. Uh please, we need housing. That is the biggest holdup towards us helping more people.
Yeah. Well, Amy from Rainbow Passage, thank you for coming on and talking about this amazing group and much needed project. I really really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
You have a good one.
You too.
Bye. And there we go. How y'all doing? Amy is super cool. Like I like and respect anyone who can be open about like where they've been, and like especially when they're dedicating themselves to such a good cause. So please do go and support them however you can, especially to help them get to their Christmas goal, to get some little presents for the people in their program. How we all doing? Hello, Koopa Shell. Hello, Noctalb. Hello, Jebediah Kerman. Hello, It's Gonza. Hello, Guck. You're doing EP? That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, also, I really have to use the bathroom, so I will be right back. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How we doing? Peepos I organize with are working on a project that will be of great use to Rainbow Passage. So glad I got Amy's email. It will definitely help. You're welcome, GamerG. I'm glad you can get something useful out of these conversations. Catching up on chat from during it. Oh man. Let's see. Catalina Gearbox, thank you.
They made an IA Santa on Twitch.
An AI Santa? That's neat. I don't really have an interest in that, but thank you for the $5 dono. Also, chat, if you enjoyed the conversation, consider hitting the follow button on Twitch, hitting the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs or donos if you like to see content like that, because that is what I rely on to not die. Also, consider going to rainbowpassage.org and dropping a dono over there to help fund their operations and fund their Christmas presents for the year. Did you see that DeWine is still sitting on the Trans Youth Care ban bill? He is thinking hard about it. Yeah, I feel like he's probably just gonna like sit on it till the end of his term and then sign it. Yeah, he just doesn't want to deal with the fallout of it right now. That seems to be kind of the case for a lot of these places. See here. Can't log into the main site because I'm at work today. Forgot my login. That's okay. I think we're gonna be done for now, but I will be live later. I have to do some other things in the middle of my day today, but y'all, we're gonna raid into. Meabyte. How about that? We'll do a little raid. And we'll be back, and I'll have a more prepped show for after this. But y'all have a good one. I'll be here waiting. Bye!